So I think I can jump in. Welcome, everyone. Calling to order the April 12th Board of Selectmen meeting. Just a reminder that pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitation on number of people that can gather, this meeting is being conducted by Zoom and or by phone. All the information for using either of those means is on the town website. We are recording this meeting, and just a reminder that the recording is not to be considered a public document. And also then just a reminder, at the end of the open meeting, the Board of Selectmen will be going into executive session and complete their work for the evening in executive session. So let's see. So Lisa isn't on yet, but I think we can certainly take up Tara's appointment. We have a 6 o'clock public hearing for Katie's. Hopefully we can get through the appointment of the two people who are appointing tonight before that. So each of the two applicants tonight, Lisa Hart and Tara Shaw, are well known to us. Each applicant has already gone through a preliminary interview process and a screening. So what we thought we'd do at this point is just take a couple of moments to see if the applicant had any final comments, and then if the board had any final questions before we make a motion to appoint. So Tara, anything you'd like to add or anything you'd like the Board of Selectmen to know that you think we don't know already?
No, nothing to add. I'm excited to come back. I've had 2 years away, but in university settings. So I've taken full advantage of learning some more technology, and I happen to have done a lot of different work than I did as a town clerk. So it was a great change for me, and a lot of it was actually accounting based in my two positions. So I knew I would have regretted not putting in an application for this position. It's always been an interest to me, but I never thought it would unfold this way. So I'm excited. I hope everything works out. I'll be so happy to work with everybody again in the townhouse. So it's exciting for me. And I appreciate everybody's confidence in me. So I'm looking forward to starting a new career. So I think that happens around this time of everybody's lives. I think it's a good thing. So thank you.
We are thrilled you're here, a little bit surprised, and couldn't be happier, and couldn't be happy with both potential appointees tonight. Christine or John, any final questions for Tara before we make a motion?
No, go ahead,
John.
Christine. Nope.
I was going to say I don't have any questions. I'm just really excited at the thought of having you back with us, Tara. I know you can do this, and you'll do a great job at anything that you set your mind to. So,
thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the financial team that's taken place here. I think it's going to be awesome. I couldn't think of a better group of people to address all the issues we got.
Sounded scary.
No, it's going to be fun.
Okay, great.
No, and all the more I think we've had on our agenda for a long time, kind of upgrading, and I think the new energy and the new excitement is very much to be looked forward to. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion. The motion is that we appoint Tara Shaw as Administrative Treasurer Collector Assistant effective April 12th, through June 3rd, 2021, and as Assistant Treasurer Collective effective June 4th, 2021 through June 30th of 2021.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Okay, then it'll be roll call vote. Mr. Trainer,
Yes.
Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Russo, yes. Tara, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
I guess I should add that's pending, pending contract negotiation, Liz?
No,
No?
that
Okay.
will be a standard offer letter
Okay,
circulated a draft of, and if you approve of the terms, I'll send it to Tara to sign tomorrow, and then you guys can come in and sign it at your convenience.
very good. Okay, we'll look forward to hearing from that. Tara, welcome aboard again. The townhouse will be brightened by your presence for
Thank
sure.
you very much. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. It's exciting.
So you're welcome to hang on and see what's going on for the rest of the meeting, or you're welcome to find other useful things to.
I have to actually go back to work from home. Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
Tara.
Bye.
See ya. So Lisa isn't on, and it's not quite 6 o'clock yet. Let's see what else we could do, if anything.
You want to do the lease, Mark, for the North Plympton Cemetery?
Sure.
It's kind of straightforward.
Well, and do you want to go ahead and present that, John, please?
So, as we mentioned in the past, the cemetery is overgrown. It's owned by a private person. Original plan was to have the Boy Scouts go in, but our town insurance doesn't allow anybody under 18 to work under the town insurance policy. So this is sending it to the owner, who's out in Washington State, asking her if she'll approve it. And then we have volunteers over 18 that will help clean it up.
And you're comfortable with the license as presented to us?
I am. Liz, I guess you're probably more aware than I am. You okay with it?
Yes. Yes, and town council went all through it.
John, can I ask a question on this?
Sure.
Have we ever approached the property owner about donating the land to the town?
She said she's not willing to sell it at this time. So the word sell came up.
She can't
But-
sell it anyway. It's a cemetery, right?
No, the whole 15 acres.
Okay.
It sits, the cemetery itself is about half an acre, and it sits within a 15-acre plot.
Gotcha. Well, what about just peeling off the cemetery? Is it, would it be accessible?
I think if we could work with her for a year so she can see how we're cleaning it up, sending her pictures,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe there'll be an opportunity for the whole plot,
Okay.
because it would have sewerage and water running by it.
Okay. Great. All right. Thank you, John.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. So would you like to make a motion on that one, John?
I'll make a motion that we approve the lease as drawn by the lawyers to send to them, to send to the owner. And then we'll see whether or not she'll sign it as it's written, or whether she'll want any corrections.
Okay, and I'd just make the note, it's a license rather than a lease.
Yes, thank you.
So I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? So roll call vote, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Trainer,
Yes,
Mr. Russo, yes. Okay.
thank you.
Good. So we still have a few minutes before 6. How about-
Excuse me one moment. I'm sorry, Mark.
What's that?
Who seconded that?
That was me, Mark Russo.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, do you want to just address that the bylaw review committee, that the informational brochures, that's going to be tabled until the April 26th meeting?
Yes, that's another agenda item. We're crossing these off right and left, but we are still waiting to hear from town council with some comments about the bylaw review committee information sheets. As soon as we have that, we're anxious to have the bylaw review committee chair come in and discuss it with us and see about getting those implemented. But we want to make sure we're good with town council along the way. How about release of salaries and wage info for fiscal year 20? Do we want to bring that up now?
Sure. I put that on there a year ago or so. We released the first salaries and wages. We put it in the annual report, and it was also printed in the paper. So when COVID came along, it kind of put a halt to our annual report. And I don't even know that we need a vote, but I figured I'd put it on just so that everybody's aware we're going to re-release the numbers. And we'll just do it every year. In the past, the Finance Committee was very supportive of releasing the numbers.
Was last year or 2 years ago the first time we did it, or had it been done previous to that?
I don't believe it's ever been done previous to that.
And did we have any comment from the citizenry along the way?
I did get one. A person I know said from now on, if he has any more kids, they're going to be cops. Little chance of having any more kids.
All right. So you don't think we need a motion or a vote on this?
Well, it's up to you guys. I mean, I guess Liz would be the, what do you think, Liz?
I don't think so. We've included it in the past, and Christine Kelly already printed out the data for going forward for 2020.
Okay. So we still have a few minutes before 6. Should we talk about Memorial Day celebration update? I guess that'd probably be, is that you, Bree?
Hi.
Hi.
Can we skip over me for a quick second? I'm trying to get a hold of somebody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. All right. Sorry that we're jumping all over the place, but
Want me to get a piece of correspondence out of the way?
my eyes fell right on acknowledged receipt. Would that be okay?
Sure. So
Okay.
that's just kind of a formality. If you could just acknowledge that when the agenda was printed, it was actually 3 zoning bylaw related articles that were automatically forwarded to the planning board. One of those has since been withdrawn. So far there are 2 still on the table. The floodplains one, which you've already sent to the planning board, as well as the accessory dwelling units one, which I forwarded to the planning board on behalf of the board so that they could schedule their hearing. It's more or less just a formality of acknowledging that Selectmen forwarded to the planning board.
Okay. You want to vote on that, or simply that we acknowledge that that has happened?
If you could do a vote of acknowledgement, that would be good, just for the record.
Okay, so I make a motion that we acknowledge the receipt of the zoning bylaw revisions and that they've been sent to planning board for a public hearing and will appear on the annual town meeting warrant.
I'll second the motion.
Any more discussion? All right, roll call vote. Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Trainer, and Mr. Russo.
Sorry, yes.
Got it. Mr. Russo, yes. And then actually one more correspondence, Liz, about the county.
So the Plymouth County Cares Program, way back when we had authorized the fire chief to do submissions direct to them on our behalf, they are just looking for an official vote that I could type up on paper for them. So if you could take a vote reaffirming that the fire chief and or myself are authorized to make the submissions to the county cares program. the past ones and any future ones. That would be much appreciated, just so that they have the paper trail that they need.
So I make a motion, as Liz has just described, reaffirming the fire chief or herself as authorized to deal with the county care submissions.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call vote. Mrs. Joy?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
Mr. Russo? Yes. Okay. So it is now 6 o'clock, and the next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Hopefully, Lisa has just joined us. So forgive me, let's, since Lisa has just gotten on, I think maybe we'll get that item taken care of, and then we'll feel free to move forward. So welcome, Lisa Hart, who is still on mute. Come in, Lisa Hart. Hopefully after unmuting. All right, well, maybe we'll come back to Lisa and we'll go ahead with the public hearing then. So Keith, are you representing Cacades in the public hearing? And you're on mute as well, sir. Usually lower left or upper right. There
How's
we
that?
go.
That looks
better.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. This
thank
is a
you.
public hearing for a liquor license for Katie's. I have a couple formalities to go through before we actually get into this. So just to state that a notice of hearing was published in the newspaper, also in the clerk's office, the town website. Abutters have been notified. We know that a liquor license in town is available, and so we'll go ahead with the public hearing. The first part of the public hearing is noting about the hearing notice, which we have done. The next part is establishing ground rules, which I'll do momentarily. The hearing takes on two phases. First, the collection of evidence from the applicant and proponents in favor of the application. And then after that, a collection of evidence from those who oppose the application. We ask each person that speaks that they identify themselves by stating their name and their address for the record. After we've gone through the collecting of evidence phase, we'll have a phase, we'll close that phase, and then we'll open the deliberation phase when the selectmen will debate amongst themselves, and then presumably a vote will be taken. And that's how we'll go about it. So,
Okay, I have one comment first. It's not a liquor license application. It's a beer and wine application.
thank you very much.
We're not going for the full liquor, just beer and wine. That's all we want. Our other locations in Hyannis and Plymouth and Marshall, they are full license because it's more of a bar type situation. So this is not that. So I wanted to make a note of that because it's a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you for that correction. And actually, we're at the place when, if you have any comments and speaking in favor of your application, we'd be glad to hear them.
Oh yeah, somebody again. We have other locations. We've been in business for 10 or so years in Hyannis, Plymouth, and Marshfield. And they're what they are is they're full restaurants, and we offer full liquor options for everybody. So it's like a regular full serve restaurant. So and by the way, for those three locations, they're not really we call them Cacades Burger Bar, but the bar is really meant for the different quantities of burgers. As our liquor food mix in the other 3 locations is liquor is only 30% of the business. So it's actually very small for a full liquor license. So we really don't feel that this beer and wine application for Plympton is going to be, it's not going to be a bar in tough words. What it's going to be is for someone comes in, they want a burger and a beer at lunch, and then they go. So it's that type thing. So, and we feel we're trying to make it after. This is the first time we're getting into what we call, it's a primarily to-go type facility where it's your counter service. You order your own. There's no wait staff. So that's why we feel we're trying to make it like a Shake Shack or a In-N-Out Burger like the ones in California, where it's just something quick for a single beer. If they want a beer, but I don't think we're going to sell a lot of it, but we just want to have that opportunity. And primarily we have sodas and shakes and things like that. So that's really what it is. It's a scaled down version of what we do now. So again, we didn't want to come in and go after any type of liquor type of business, especially since Young Kang next door is a full service. We certainly didn't want to dent into any of that. We'd rather have them go take the liquor there and go home. So again, we're primarily after this. Someone who comes in at a lunchtime at dinner will have a burger and a beer, and they leave. Our business is not to sit there and enjoy a full service meal, just to have a quick meal and go. So we feel there's not going to be a lot of drinking there of the beer anyway, and that's basically what we do. Like I said, what it is, it's essentially the same product that we have in the other locations, but it's a smaller version. It's a smaller, quicker version. If you go to our other locations, it takes like a half an hour to get a meal. You can just sit down and enjoy it. Well, this place it'll be done in about 5 minutes. You have it there or you go home. It's quick. So that's what we're trying to get at. Smaller version, a cheaper version, that type of style. So that's really what we're kind of after.
Thank you. So a couple questions. Your hours of operation in general are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. But the alcohol would be served, as I understand it, only from 12 noon until 10 p.m.?
Yes. Well, what we did, we in our other locations, we're only open from 11:30 till we're open till 11:30 morning till 1 at night. But what we're going to try to do here is, as I talk to some of the people in town, we don't do breakfast at the other place, but we're considering to do breakfast at this location. When I say breakfast, it's like a Dunkin' Donuts style breakfast and a Burger King style breakfast, where we would make our own in-house egg sandwiches type thing. So when we first came into Plympton, we weren't going to do that. I'm considering to do it. So some of the people had said we should apply for our application now for 6 o'clock. And if we don't want to do it, we'll just notify you, first of all. So if we ever did decide to do that, we certainly wouldn't start for like another month. But that was our intention. So our intention is to eventually do a breakfast, coffee and breakfast, and then go to the full lunch and dinner. Number one. Number two is if we did have the beer, it would be after lunch, certainly. So we don't know if we're going to do breakfast, but we think we are, because everybody comes by, there's a demand where they say, hey, we want breakfast. So that's what we're considering.
And you're comfortable your staff will be fully trained in terms of liquor?
Yeah. What we'll do is anybody, we'll follow all the rules and liquor regulations. We'll have to have the people who'll be there now, which are my management people. We're taking people from the other locations in the beginning. We're bringing them into Plympton, and then after 2 or 3 months, we'll start looking for other long-term managers. But all these people are tip certified. They're all certified. The people we have now are all tip certified. So even though we don't anticipate any of the problems that can happen in a full liquor place, we still are tip certified, We're ServSafe certified, so we feel we'll be able to handle that. I know there are rules and regulations. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know there are rules and regulations where at a certain age, someone at the counter could not serve a beer or deliver a beer. So whatever those rules and regulations are, our people know what they are. I don't know off the top of my head, but they'll be able to meet that standard, number one. Number two is we will not display any beer. You know, when I say beer, that's can of beer and a can of wine. I mean, just a 12-ounce can of beer. We won't display any of those out front of the counter where someone can grab it and go. They have to. It'll be behind the counter where a customer cannot just grab it on their own. It'll be treated just like a regular location with identification, age identification, etc. So it's not where someone can just reach behind the bar. So that's another thing I wanted to mention. It's going to be stored behind we have kind of a half counter, like a 4-foot counter all the way across. And it'll be behind that in refrigeration.
Fellow selectmen, questions for the applicant?
No, not from me.
I've got a couple questions. You've said in your application that you're planning on using delivery service for food, correct? Third-party delivery companies?
Yes.
I just wanted to be clear that you're not delivering any alcohol. It'll just be food.
No.
Okay.
No. But first of all, as you probably all know, it's a temporary thing right now anyway. But we wouldn't do that. We would do that. No.
Okay.
And we feel, like I said, it's only temporary from the state, as you all probably know. A lot of places can do that, but that'll be ending in a month or two. We heard, but no, we will not be doing that.
Great, thank you.
Number one. Number two is we won't be doing any delivery ourselves. What we'll do is we'll use third-party sources like Grubhub and Uber and places like that. That's what we'll be using because we feel our product it doesn't fit the mold where we have our own delivery because we have to wait for 3 or 4 burgers to be cooked before you can ship it out. So it doesn't meet it. So we'll be using these third party delivery services.
Great. Okay. Thank you. All right. Second question is actually more of a statement, and you may want to get this corrected. On your application, you spelled Main Street wrong. So I don't know if that's how it would come through on the license.
No, I probably did it at 11 o'clock some night. I mean, but no.
Yeah, no worries. And then my last question is, are there any issues with 2 liquor licenses being for the same address? Because, Kang, you and Kang are both 286 Main Street. You've got different liquor licenses. I just want to make sure that there's not any issue with 2 licenses being held at the same address.
Well, Kane will speak to that too. But again, we're a I don't know if they call it a malt liquor and wine. It's much lower scale thing. But we happen to be 286 Suite 4. So what we could do is we could probably, just for your concern, which I didn't think about, we could probably add that suite. Is it Unit 4 or Suite 4, Jan? Young.
Unit 4.
Young King.
Okay.
Yes.
Was it? Yeah. So we can have that change because the main reason was we're Young and I go back. The reason why I'm in Plympton right now is because I rent space off of Young in Plymouth right now already. So I figured he'd give me a good deal, which I found out later. I mean, I can tell you about that later, but anyway, so I don't want to. I don't want to do anything at all that will affect Young. And we feel if someone's going to come to get beer, they're not going to come to us and get beer at $4 a can.
Right.
They go next door and buy a 6-pack for $4. So that's why we kept it that way.
No, that's perfectly. I understand. I just want to make sure there's not any technical issues that would prevent having 2 licenses. But you do have different addresses, your different suites. So I just want to make sure we're not negatively impacting Young at all.
Yeah. It also what happens is they issue a liquor license to an individual corporate number. So, you know, it'll be identified.
True.
As far as, yeah, that wise. But as far as space wise, no, it's completely separate. And when we say beer, I mean, I'm telling you, it's going to be, well, I'll probably be buying it off of Young.
Probably.
It's not going to be a lot, you know, but.
That's a no-no.
Perfect. All right. That's all I've got. Thank you.
So we are in the midst of a public hearing on an application for a wine and malt license. Anyone else want to speak in favor of the application? Okay, hearing nothing else, then we go to the phase of the meeting. Is there anyone that would like to speak against the application? Okay, so we'll close the evidence collecting part of the meeting and go on to deliberation. Actually, just along the way, we welcome Mr. King and we welcome Mr. Stedding. Thrilled that you both joined us tonight. Fellow selectmen, any debate or deliberation needed before a motion on this?
No, I fully support.
I'm fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm thrilled there'll be another business in town. I hear there are veggie burgers, which makes me all the more excited.
We have, matter of fact, there's the Impossible Burger too, which is veggie-based product. It's pretty good. But, you know, that's not, but we also have chicken. We have chicken sandwiches. We'll have salads. We're going to do a grab and go salad. We think it's going to be nice for the, you know, people driving by, that type thing. We don't plan on people. I think inside there's going to be like 4 tables. I mean, you know, there's not room for anything. So we feel it's going to add to that area with the people, the traffic. I think it'll do. You'll be surprised. I think it'll do well with the third-party deliveries, especially when a lot of people in town learn about it. It's it's surprising how easy it is. And on third-party deliveries, you really don't. You're paying the same price you would in a restaurant. You're not paying really. No one marked it up. So what happens is any restaurant gives the third-party deliver a discount. So what happens is when you buy something for $20, that's what you pay for it. We give the delivery person the discount. So that's really what the business is.
No, I think there's a crying need for this service, and I think it'll be wonderful.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
Do you have curbside as well as delivery?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, what we do right now is we just at the other locations we installed a new technology called that's Beacon Sales, and what you can do is you'll be able to call in, and you can you'll get a recording that you can text your order, and you actually text it in, or it says you want to speak to someone live. So what happens is if you text it in, when you show up, it'll tell us you're out there, and we can do curbside. Yes.
Okay, great.
As a matter of fact, down the road, we always wanted to do like maybe a to-go window on the side of the building where you could do your walk-up. I mean, that's down the road. But yes, we do curbside.
Great. That's all I have.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we approve this wine. and
Excuse me, Mark. Mark.
Yes.
I do have a question.
Go for it.
Are you going to be serving and having outdoor seating?
Well, no. First of all, no. First of all,
I think, can I just speak for a second? I think we should get the license approved. Let's get it through ABCC and then come back if we're going to talk about the outdoor seating aspect. Because if you're serving liquor outdoors, beer or wine, that requires an alteration of the floor plan filed with ABCC. So I think we're better off getting his license situated and then pursue that if that's what he wants to do, so that we don't muddy the waters.
That's fine.
Thank you, Liz.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the wine and malt license for Katie's, the alcohol being served from 12 noon until 10 p.m.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion from anyone? All right, roll call vote. Mrs. Choi?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
Mr. Russo? Yes. Keith, we're thrilled you're here. And
Well, thank you. I'm sure I'll be able to get to know all of you soon. But what's good about it too is we get active in the community. We help little league clubs and baseball clubs and soccer and cheerleading clubs. So we get involved. We help them. We enjoy if they have fundraisers. We contribute. So that you'll learn that as you go along. We join the community also.
Yeah, I have no doubt you're going to be a great neighbor. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
All right, so
Thank you very much.
That'll close the public hearing, and we'll go onward. And it is with great pleasure that we welcome Lisa Hart to this meeting. Welcome, Lisa. Sorry you had some computer woes along the way.
I did, and I apologize for signing in late with you guys. Hopefully you can hear me now.
I can hear you fine. Absolutely,
okay, good.
No problem. So we went ahead before and appointed Tara to the assistant treasurer clerk position, and we are have a couple odds and ends to do here, and then hopefully appoint you to the town accountant position. As we noted with Tara, you are surely well known to all of us in town. And your application has gone through preliminary interview and screening. And so what we're doing at this point is really just taking a couple minutes to see if you have any last comments and whether any of the board has any last questions before we make a motion to appoint you. So anything you'd like to say to the board, Lisa?
This came upon me suddenly. But happily, my head was swirling. I was leaving Friday for vacation, just got back yesterday, and but I'm very excited. I love the town of Plympton, obviously. I know all you guys, and I'm going to look forward very much to working with you, working with Finance Committee again, and I really don't have any questions. The contract looked fine, and I'm happy. I'd be very happy to be coming on board.
I would only say, I think like all of us, I'm totally thrilled, and I think you're the exact right person for the job and know the town well and are dedicated to the town and couldn't be happier. Let me throw it over to Mr. Trainer and Mrs. Joy. Any questions or comments before we make a motion, John?
Well, the only thing I can say is you made the library very unhappy. But I'm delighted you're here, Lisa. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I second that, Lisa. You are well-rounded. You've been on many boards and committees. You know how town government works. I'm really excited about working with you in this position. I think you're going to do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to appoint Lisa Hart as administrative accountant effective April 12, 2021 through May 27th, 2021, and as town accountant effective May 28th, 2021 through May 28th, 2024. Do I hear
Mark, is it possible to go longer on when it ends, just so that we're like maybe in line with the fiscal year? Could we go to like June 30th, or is that a bad idea?
So normally the contracts, the dates are usually 1 year or 3 years. So this would be 3 years.
Okay. And that would be a little over 3 years. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Now I'll second the motion.
Very good. Any more discussion along the way besides all the smiles of jubilation? All right, roll call vote. Mrs. Joy?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Russo, actually, before I vote, this one is dependent on contract negotiation, Liz?
Correct. And I sent, that's the draft that I sent you and that you'll look at in the executive session. And assuming everything is a go, I will send it to Lisa for signature. And then we will have it in the office for the three of you to come in and sign at your convenience.
So we will take that up in executive session at the end of this meeting. Let Liz know, Lisa, and then Liz will follow through with you on final negotiations. So completing the roll call vote, Mr. Russo, yes. So welcome aboard, Lisa. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. We're looking
well
forward
done.
to it very much.
Very, very much. Okay. So Lisa, you're welcome to stay with us. You may have other ways to spend your evening, and you're welcome to head out into the world while we plug away at these items.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Lisa.
Good night.
Okay, so actually back to the agenda, and maybe we can actually do part of this in order. So the next item is general preparations for annual and special town meeting. Liz, there's a screen share document that hopefully you can put up. So the document that Liz is going to put up, there it is sort of my mild freak out that, oh my goodness, there are only 4 weeks until town meeting. And of course, it's a hectic, frantic time of year. So these are just my thoughts on not necessarily everything on the list that we need to do, but my thoughts on things that we might do over the next 4 weeks to make town meeting as successful as possible. So the first thing is just general, and Liz, I think, has done a great job on checking in on all of these. This was more just for my peace of mind that we had checked every base. And I'll just check in with you, Liz. Are you comfortable that all these entities are on board and ready to go? Okay.
Yes.
So what follows then is my listing of ideas that we might do in terms of educating the public, half of it, and then the second half equally is encouraging participation. We had such a small meeting such a small attendance last year, and I think we're maybe destined for that again this year. And I personally hope we can just get the word out as much as possible so that people have an opportunity or maybe even feel some sense of duty to come to town meetings so that, you know, their future gets decided by them. So just going down the list, we know that the planning board is going to have a public hearing May 3rd. I want to throw out for discussion amongst us the possibility of the Board of Selectmen having 1 or 2 informational Zoom sessions. I think actually Mr. Trainer may have initiated this or certainly perpetuated this while he was town moderator for several years, having a Saturday morning informational section at the library. And I'd be willing to, if we wanted to go ahead with informational sessions, to have something on a Wednesday evening, the week before town meeting, and then a Saturday morning. Generally, over the last few years when we had those, the attendance was pretty small, but there were people that were interested and wanted to hear what was going on. So that was one thing. I'm just going to go down the list and then we can open up for discussion. And hopefully over the next 4 weeks, we can have articles for the newspaper and the town website, Board of Selectmen, bylaw review, town properties. Hopefully we each get some articles in to educate the public. Social media, hopefully we're able to get word out about the upcoming town meeting. Our Board of Selectmen meeting in 2 weeks is going to be largely about town meeting. We definitely want to invite the bylaw review chair in to discuss the in-law apartment issue. We surely will want to have the town properties committee in to discuss their articles. And that will also be the meeting when we, the Board of Selectmen, vote on the articles. I think, if I have this right, Finance Committee will have voted the previous Monday night, and then we'll have our shot to vote as well. And then the last 3, Selectmen word of mouth. I hope to spend a fair amount of time campaigning over the next 4 weeks campaigning for people to come to town meeting more than anything else, but just also be aware of the articles. There is, of course, the annual FinCom budget mailing, and then we, the Board of Selectmen, will have to be prepared to vigorously advocate for particular Board of Selectmen articles on the town meeting. So sorry to go on and on, but this is just kind of assuage my own mild anxiety that, oh my goodness, there are only 4 weeks left. And so I open it to discussion to my fellow selectmen. I think particularly the question of whether having these informational sessions in the week before town meeting for citizens is a good idea or not.
So I would say a couple of things. First of all, town meeting is the moderator's meeting. And in the past, the informational sessions were initiated basically from the library coming forth saying that people were asking them how to get more information. And so I started the chair informational. A lot of people didn't show up, but there were enough. So I think one of the things we've got to do right away is get the moderator into the discussion here. I think on some of these, it might make more sense to have Barry take the lead, but I think that's his decision. He may say, no, this is fine. And I'm okay with whichever way we go on that. The meeting on the 26th, usually when I was moderator, the moderator would lead the discussion around the articles. Again, that's Barry's decision as moderator. As far as the other things, I think fine. Can you put it up to the top a little more? Liz, I can't see.
Yeah, Liz, can you scroll up a little bit? There we go. Thank you.
I think the biggest issue, certainly the discussion around the fire station, the discussion around the what do you call, I'm sorry, I'm losing the having in-law apartments. What do we call that?
Accessory dwelling.
Accessory dwelling. Thank you. That was what it's. I think those are going to generate a lot of interest, and I think it behooves us to make sure that it's well discussed prior to town meeting. So I'm fully in support of the Wednesday evening and Saturday morning meetings. I think it would work well to maybe have the moderator and the chair kind of co-host those. And maybe, and then us two could also be there to just give our opinion, but I think it works well when there's not too many people getting into the discussion. So that's sort of where my headset comes.
John, I agree with you on those two meetings. I'd rather that we are the promoter and not the presenters. I think that with those informational Zoom sessions, I would really like to see planning board or the bylaw review committee. They take the lead. I mean, we could certainly be there, or one of us could be there at these meetings, but I don't think that we should be presenting this where they're their articles. Maybe just we're there as support or to answer questions.
I agree with that. When I said the moderator and the selectman, I always think more probably just the moderator, just being the moderator, because the moderator can't come out and talk for or against an article.
That sounds good. Everything looks good to me, Mark. I think it's really nicely laid out, and with John's amendments about really it's the moderator Barry that's taking the lead with some of these activities. I think we're in good shape. We just need to get Barry involved.
Okay, so either Liz or I can be in touch with Barry, see whether he would be willing to be the sort of organizer along with us promoting those two meetings, also see if we could get bylaw review and town properties in, but leave it to Barry. And I certainly at least one selectman, if more than one selectman wanted to attend, we could just post it as a
Right.
meeting. But I think us being there also to answer questions makes total sense. And I'm glad to carve out some time for both of those. I mean, if history is any indicator, I fear that there won't be too many people that would come to either one, but even if it's only a few, those are going to be the committed few, and maybe they're going to be the ones that we energize to also bring others to town meeting. Any comments or thoughts by anyone else on the call?
Yeah, Mark. So for the meeting on the 26th, it depends how long you think that meeting's going. We have school committee that evening as well. So I'm happy to attend, but will have to be a later time since we meet at 6, and that's actually an advertised public hearing. I don't think, so we can work that out, and I can work with Liz on that. Happy to be part of the 5th and 8th info sessions for town properties.
Great. All right.
Mark, we could talk to Barry and take that article right up front. It's up to the moderator, when they do it. So if that's okay, if that would make more sense, John, to give you some time right up front so you have time to make your meeting.
Yeah, yeah, we'll work it out. We'll make sure we can do it.
I'd be glad to talk to Barry too. Just tell him what I did when I was moderator, and it's his choice.
Well, if that's the case, John, I'm glad. Would you be willing to contact Barry and discuss what we propose here?
Sure.
Since you have the most experience and since you created the problem. Oh, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Yeah. All right. So that'd be great. And I will certainly attend both meetings. I would encourage one or both of the fellow selectmen on those informational meetings. If you're able to come, it'd be great. And yeah.
Liz, just so, when I talk to Barry, if your schedule allow, it'd be nice the three of us talk together.
Oh, sure. Why don't I'll send him a note tonight or tomorrow, and why don't we get like a Zoom call or something planned with him?
Great.
Because he's been very active. He took the lead on helping me get the AV company booked and everything like that. So he's definitely energized and wants to be part of the process.
Great. You did a great job last year too.
Sure, I'll set that up.
Mark, could I make a possible amendment? I would just want to make sure that both of these dates give us time to get an article in the newspaper prior to town meeting. So I don't know if that May 8th date might need to be changed to the previous Saturday. So I would just, I don't know if you can check with Deb Anderson. I would just want to make sure that they have the ability to cover these meetings and get an article in the paper prior to town meeting.
An article about what went on at the Zoom sessions? Mm-hmm. Or an article that sort of announces the Zoom sessions?
Maybe both, announcing the Zoom, and they were going to want to cover them too, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the May 8th would, if we were aiming for that would have to move back to the...
Just something to think about. I mean, if you guys don't think that there would be value in that, if the Wednesday would be enough, I just don't know if you might have better participation on Saturday or not. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't be able to do the May 1st. Look, maybe just the Wednesday evening is enough in that case. And
okay.
I would argue for both. I really would.
Well, if the need is to cover one of them and have that, then let's just make sure that whatever Wednesday, leave the one on the 8th, and then make sure the Wednesday one is enough. I think that's cutting it pretty close.
Normally when we have things posted in the paper, and I'm just going by ads and stuff, you have to get it by the end of the day on Tuesday, like early mid-afternoon on Tuesday appear in Friday's newspaper. So if you have it on the 5th, that won't make it into the newspaper for the 7th.
Okay, in that case,
Outcome of it, but you could still advertise and pump it up. But if you want it actually covered and published in the paper, like the results of it, I don't think that timing works.
Yeah, I think you want everything covered as much as you can and then do it again. So if we get some articles in about what's coming for town meeting and then advertise the info session and then are able to then talk to what actually happened at the info session, that's where you're going to get more of that, because I think the more information we have out there ahead of time and the more times we talk about it and people can ask questions, the easier it's going to be at town meeting.
Maybe we'll have to sort of see how it goes with Barry's schedule. The alternative would be Wednesday the 28th and Saturday the 1st. That would give time for it all to get in the paper. I wouldn't be able to attend either of those meetings, unfortunately.
I'm not available on the 28th or the 1st either, but the other dates I could make something work. Not that you need me for it specifically, but
Could you move the May 5th to the 4th to that Tuesday and then just keep the Saturday one right ahead of town meeting? You don't need to report on both of the meetings,
Right.
but you would, just give it a little more flexibility. So
Yeah.
I think it's just worth just following up and making sure that we can get one of them covered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes sense. I could do the 4th. Hopefully Liz could, and that would leave enough time. So I'll let the team of John and Liz and Barry work through their schedules, and recognizing there are competing things, they'll get that sorted out. All right. Anything else on this before we move on? Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. So next is Memorial Day celebration update. Are you there, Bree, ready for this?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, I am. Okay, so due to the pandemic, we will not be having a parade, unfortunately, this year. I have checked with the Board of Health, and they have told me that it was a no. I am working with the fire department to have the flags put out. I will still have something posted in the paper on behalf of all of the service people. We will also be planting flowers and mulching the green. I do have a couple of Boy Scouts that will do wreath placement. And because they can't gather in large groups, there will be a few of them that will help me to earn their service badge, put some to help on the flags, with the flags and mulch as well. When Texas Provide will donate the mulch as they always do, and I will be touching base with Vicki Alberti regarding flowers. We will make arrangements to have the post-cane recipient. So that is in the works. I am getting the cane back from Chief Silva, and we're going to work out something to have that presented. I don't know if you have any questions for me. Oh, and I'm sorry, and we will also be, I'm going to try to make some arrangements that possibly we could still do a salute on Memorial Day at the cemeteries. I have to work that out to see if there's maybe somebody over at the police station that I know John Simon is in the service, and see if he can do something for me. That's about it.
Can I ask a question? So there'll be no gathering on the green at all?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we can possibly, and Flag Day is in June. That's right around the corner as well. I did reach out to Peter Veneto to see if we could maybe just still do something with the kids and have them write an essay in the best 3. I have not heard back from him. I emailed him.
That would be a
And it's
lovely
just-
tradition to continue.
Yes.
You know
I
what?
did speak with him personally.
This reminds me that when we had this discussion last year, we naively talked about, well, maybe we can do a celebration on Veterans Day, thinking that the whole mess would be over by the fall, and fully unaware of how it would just spiral down. Well, won't we have a hell of a parade next year?
Hopefully you
Hopefully.
didn't just jinx that. Bree, I would follow up with Peter. Just he's got a lot going on, but I would just follow up with him because that may have gotten lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, we spoke personally, and then I emailed him. So and that was just last week. So I will. He said he was going to reach out to the teachers, but I will, John. If you want me to include you on that, I will.
You don't have to. I just know he hasn't been in the building, so that hampers things a little bit. But I did speak to him today, so just give him a poke. I'm sure he'll get it sorted.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments to Bree? Bree, thank you for your efforts. You always do a great job on this, and it will be wonderful when we can celebrate in the way we want again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay.
Thank you.
We are up to the town administrator's update, including COVID-19, and that will blend right in with correspondence.
Did I miss something on the bylaw committee review?
We tabled that until the 26th. Town council has comments to make, but they're not ready yet.
Okay, thank you.
So obviously we've been very busy with town meeting prep, and I've been working with town council on updated drafts of the agenda, the town meeting warrants for annual and special. As far as overall updates, we still have a lot going on otherwise. Our hazard mitigation planning group, we had another meeting last week, and we have a meeting coming up towards the end of May. And then we have another public workshop scheduled for June 9th so that people can see kind of a draft of the plan and what we've been working on. And I expect that project to be fully wrapped probably by sometime in July. We technically have the funding available to us through August, but usually they send August as kind of the month where MEMA and FEMA do their review and get back to us with any comments or might need to be made. So that's still ongoing. Moving on towards correspondence, we had a complaint come in regarding the town's transfer station, a complaint from a resident as well as complaint from 2 employees, and sounded like more of a misunderstanding than anything, but I do think it brings up a topic that maybe we should consider taking up for after town meeting. And that would be a meeting with the department head just to help refine some of their protocols as far as like when they're closing for the day. I understand that sometimes there are difficulties involved with getting the gate shut that people enter through. So there is that possibility that a resident might drive up with a few minutes left in the scheduled day and be able to get in there, only to find that all of the compactors and everything have been shut down. So I think maybe helping with refining some of their protocols as far as when they're closing for the day, almost like a deconstructing procedure, because it does take them a bit to get all of the machinery shut down. Even if they adjusted the hours that they're advertising to the public and allotted 15 minutes or so to kind of close everything down properly, that might make all the difference, and it would be less frustrating for residents and for the staff there. So that's just a suggestion. Otherwise, We also had a complaint about two of our town fields, one at the school in particular, an issue with people allowing their pets to go to the bathroom on the fields and not cleaning up after their pets.
For the Dennett Fields, that's on the agenda for the 26th.
Okay.
Do we have any signs there that say, you know, something about pets not allowed to do whatever on the field?
No.
There are no signs at Holt or at the Dennett.
Okay.
So that's part of what we will discuss for the Dennett Fields for the school committee.
I would think maybe we'd piggyback what you guys come up with for the Dennett.
That would be great.
Interestingly, I was, after that I'd come in, I'd taking my son to his basketball practice down on the Cape, and that school, when you pull in, has signs at the entrance of the school saying that no pets are allowed anywhere on the school grounds at all. And in talking with with Jason Frazier, he said Norwell doesn't permit any pets on the grounds. Forget about just the fields. They're just not there for health reasons. Even if people pick up, after their dogs, it's still not as healthy. But certainly at a minimum, that I think we can't have dogs on the field if we have the Pays folks going and having to clean up the fields before the kids come out and play soccer or use the softball field. So that's not going to work. So we'll have to see where that goes and how the discussion goes and what level of posting we do for that.
That sounds right to me as a first step. No dogs on the fields, and hopefully people get the message and don't abuse it, and so we don't have to be more restrictive than that.
Right. Yeah, and I assume we would put similar signs over by the playground.
Yep.
Okay.
Which would still allow you to come up the driveway and walk around and then back down again. So we'll see what the pleasure of the committee is, and Amy's on the committee too, so we'll be able to hear firsthand about what they've been experiencing.
Well, especially education thirsty dogs should have the chance to go to school.
We also have two requests for use of town property. The first one is from the Plympton Garden Club, and that is for April 17th with the rain date of April 18th. And they are asking to use the townhouse outside at the flagpole area. And I'm looking here. They have discussed dumpster use at the transfer station and COVID restrictions with Art Morin. They're also, this is for the, is this one for the cleanup, Bree?
Yes.
Okay. I have that here then. They're also discussing with Highway Department for picking up bag trash and also getting that over to the transfer station.
So I think I'll make a motion to approve this use of town property pending authorization from the other committees and chiefs and the like.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Mrs. Joy?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
Mr. Russo? Yes. Okay.
Okay, and then I have another one here, and this one, same dates. This is for Troop 53, which is Plympton Boy Scouts. Approximately 15 people. Harry Jason Park, they're going to be at. They have already notified the police department. They were going to be cooking and serving food. And I'm just looking for any other details here, because they have a whole plan. They plan to follow all of the COVID protocols. they must have protocols in place even for Boy Scouts. It talks all about sleeping arrangements and temperature checks, one person per tent. So this isn't overnight. It looks like a group meeting. And I'm just looking to see here if there's anything else relevant. Social distancing, a dedicated roster of participants will be kept in the event that contact tracing is needed. Hand washing, sanitizing, and everybody will be wearing a face covering. Food preparation and cooking will be on an individual basis. And again, one person per tent unless they are family members.
So I'll make a motion that we approve this use of town property pending approval from the departments as well.
I'll second.
Roll, or any more discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Trainer,
Yes.
Mr. Russo, yes. Okay.
That concludes my update and correspondence.
Okay, good stuff. So we're up to minutes. We have the minutes of, I think the minutes of March 22nd and the minutes of March 29th. Is that correct?
And April 6th.
Oh, and April 6th. Okay. Everybody have a chance to take a look?
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the 22nd. Anything there?
I didn't see anything.
I found several typos, which I will pass on to, I'll pass on to Bree. They were of no great significance, but it would be nice to fix them. And I'll get those to you tomorrow, Bree.
Yeah, the only one I saw instead of BOS,
Okay.
it was BO.
Yeah,
But,
BOS. You don't want to.
Maybe it was more correct. I don't know.
All right. I make a motion the minutes of March 22nd be approved with the minor typo edits that we've discussed.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Trainer,
Yes.
Mr. Russo, yes. All right. Next are the minutes of open session March 29th. Anybody have anything there?
No.
I had one typo, and I'll get that to Bree. So I make a motion these be accepted with the typo correction.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Trainer,
Yes.
Mr. Russo, yes. And then the minutes for open session of April 6th, which were done by Liz. Anything on those?
The only issue I had that the documents that were posted on Zoom be attached to the minutes.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion these be accepted with the attachment of the documents.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Trainer, Mr.
Yes.
Russo, yes. Okay. I think that brings us to the end. Oh, raves, if anybody wants, and then we're going to go into executive session.
No, I have a couple of raves, and my first rave is for Lisa and Tara. Having them come back is wonderful. To have such qualified and competent residents that are stepping up in our time of need. So I'm so grateful for them, and they're also keeping in our green theme of recycling. So we've all. With other public officials. So I'm just so grateful to them, and also to the Garden Club for organizing the townwide cleanup. It's definitely needed. It's a lot of work. It's a thankless job, but it's truly appreciated because it's so nice to drive around after they finish the cleanup and see the roads looking so nice. So thank you very much for that.
And I'll second all that. And Lisa and Tara, and having local people that love the town, that understand the town. We like to believe we're unique. We are unique, and in fact, we are unique. And having people like them help us stay that way is a true blessing. Mr. Trainer?
I'll repeat my rave from last week, which is the daffodils on 106. If you haven't seen them, they are spectacular.
Okay, I think we've made it through that. We are going to go into executive session for session 2, contract preparation for contract negotiation, and then that will end the evening. So we're going to ask Mr. Wilhelmsen, Bree, Anderson News, and Lisa to drop off, and we'll go into executive session. Lisa, thanks for hanging with us.
It was good to get back into it.
Right.
You guys have a nice evening.
You too. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Night, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa. Would you be going back from executive back to open or no?
No.
Okay,
No.
great. Thank you. Good night.
Good night,
night,
Bree.
Bree.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.